He's a talented writer-director who became a household name with his very first film, Uri the Surgical Strike, and his older brother has been at the forefront of movie distribution overseas for 2 decades. So it was only a matter of time before Aditya and Lokesh Dhar joined forces and launched their own production company. The brothers released the acclaimed hit Article 370 last year, and now they're getting ready to unleash their first film made specially for streaming, Dhoom Dhaam.
A prolific filmmaker with a creative eye of bringing hard-hitting stories to life, and a marketing and distribution genius who helped turn so many films for top studios into blockbuster overseas. Now these two forces have combined together to create a unique storytelling source for Indian cinema. Lokesh sir, Aditya sir, thank you so much for joining us on AVS. So good to have you on the show. And let me say, it's an honor to see you guys grow on your journeys. Let me start with the obvious. When did you decide, okay, it's time to join forces and create your own production company?
I mean, I think as kids, we were obsessed with films. So when I was probably like 5 or 6 and he was probably like not even talking, we've been obsessed with films since then. That was the form of entertainment. That was our weekend. Our parents took us to theater close by, you know, and in that time, that is what families did. But the real trigger came in 2019, post Uri release. Aditya had come to LA and he was writing Ashwathama at that time. And that's the time we decided that, you know, there are a lot of stories that we want to tell. There is talent that we want to promote who don't get opportunities. And we felt like we are in a unique position to embrace that. And this was our lifelong dream, to be working in the business. I mean, we got an opportunity to work in the business in our own way, and this was a dream come true for us to join hands and, you know, start a company and do some productions.
Aditya sir, like he rightly said, I mean, you had a fantastic directorial debut with Uri. I mean, you took the box office by storm. And tell me, what did you learn from that experience that you bring to your production company?
I think the most important experience must be nothing is impossible. Uri, with the kind of budget, the kind of problems it faced, those were very unique. Also, every problem has a solution, provided you look for it. So that is something which we learned really well during the shoot of Uri, that whenever the problem came up, the first thought was, how do we solve it? It was never that this problem has come up and now we're not gonna, like, till the time I don't get the funds or till the time actors don't come on set, I'll not do this. There was no bahana. Everything was like, if this is the problem, let's figure out a solution. And that idea of finding solution is something which stuck with me. And then as the company grew, as we started doing more productions, we realized that, like, right now we are on our 4th production, and we realized that that is something which is actually making our films unique.
B62, a very unique name. What was the story behind this? Where did it come from?
So, like Lokesh was mentioning, that since we were born, like since we were kids, babies, we were obsessed with films. The house where we were born, the house where my parents got married, it was in a locality in South Delhi, and the address was B62. And the reason why we chose that name was that on the right, about like 500 meters, half a kilometer or a kilometer on the right of that house was this theatre called Alankar, and a kilometer left of that house was a theatre called Sapna. So whatever education or whatever desire of getting into films that happened at that stage was because of those 2 theatres in that house. So we realized that because our base was that house for the exposure towards cinema, there couldn't have been a better name for a company, because that's where everything started.
इस रूम में बैठे हम लोगों और पीएमओ के कुछ कोर मेंबर्स के अलावा प्राइम मिनिस्टर सर के पीए तक को नहीं पता होना चाहिए कि हमारा प्लान क्या है।
अगर पुलवामा के बाद भी आग जलाए रखनी है तो इनके दिल में हमारा खौफ वापस भरना होगा।
हम आर्टिकल 370 हटाएंगे।
The production company's debut with Article 370, another fabulous film, and sort of along the lines of what we expected after Uri. But Dhoom Dhaam, what a departure, complete departure from that sort of films. Tell me, what's this film about?
Firstly, just to let you know, Dhoom Dhaam is actually our first production. So it's a very emotional moment for us that it's finally, you know, on 14th February, the world will come to see like what we have done as producers and writers and, you know, as a creative team. So it's got a long journey. So I'll let Aditya speak on the long journey about Dhoom Dhaam because it's got an interesting history.
Yes.
चार्ली किधर है?
कौन चार्ली?
क्यों सुहागरात पे इसको विधवा बनाना चाहता है?
ऐसे कैसे गोली चला दिया?
So tell us about this history.
So why we chose Dhoom Dhaam as our first production is that when we started the company, COVID had just hit the world.
2019, yes.
And the situation was pretty dark, like everybody was sad and it was heartbreaking, and over that whatever we were seeing on platforms was also very dark. So somewhere we felt here we should be concentrating on more fun films so that people can be pulled out of that darkness and everything. So the idea was always to create something which is like fun, it's easy, it's a community watch, family can sit together and watch it, and it's fun ride for everyone.
चार्ली किधर है?
अरे कौन सा चार्ली?
सनी हमारी जान खतरे में है। गोलियां चल रही हैं हम पर, गुंडे हमारे पीछे पड़े हैं। रहने दो तुम।
शादी की पहली रात ठीक से शुरू भी नहीं हुई और सीधा तुम।
अगर और इरिटेट किया ना तो तुमसे तू और तू से च्यू पे भी आ सकती है।
Again, the idea was that let's cast actors who audience cannot imagine in these roles. So we really enjoy anti-casting. We really enjoy anti-casting. We really enjoy casting people in roles that audience cannot imagine them in.
इसे दे दो ब्रदर।
I am not your brother.
तेरी माँ का मम्मी सिस्टर हो गई है यार। लैंग्वेज दीदी।
What was it like collaborating with him? Tell me the pros and cons of working with your siblings.
So I'll give you the first time I went to US after Uri. That was the first time I was going to US, and I was coming from the success of Uri, and I went to US, and I was expecting that he's gonna be like all
Treat him very nicely.
He'll treat me really nicely and all that. So I landed up in US, and I see this mattress in the drawing room, in the middle of the drawing room. And he tells me that you wanted to work on Ashwatthama. From today onwards, you will sleep on the floor and you'll work on Ashwatthama or whatever scripts you're working on. And you'll wake up in the morning, you'll brush your teeth, you'll start working, you'll sit on the floor, you'll work. For 6 months, he made me sleep on the floor just to make sure that it never gets into my head that, oh, I'm the maker of Uri and all that. And that's how he is. Like he always is like life will never be easy, so be prepared for it. And these are like small ways for him, like that he basically forces you to be prepared for it.
आज के बाद किसी और लड़की को तो छोड़, सोशल मीडिया पे किसी के फोटो का थंबनेल भी देखा ना, मम्मी से स्ट्राइक कर दूंगी।
Aditya sir, I want to ask you with Dhoom Dhaam around, as a writer producer, you opted for a very non-Dhoom Dhaam wedding, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about this decision of going for a very low-key, intimate wedding with Yami.
So we both, Yami and I, both wanted this kind of wedding. Since my childhood, I was like, I always used to feel it's very unnecessary to put so much burden on a girl's family to make the wedding big, and for boys' family also. It's actually, the families never enjoy the wedding because they're always running around and taking care of Fufa ji ko pakode thande mil gaye and all that. So we always wanted a very small, intimate wedding, and this was during COVID, the second wave of COVID, and we were all together. And suddenly we decided that we are there, we are all together, and we can't go out, and everything is locked. And so why not just get done with it? And I feel that when the wedding happened, it was one of the most beautiful experiences of my life, because 12 people, 6 लड़की वालों की तरफ से, 6 लड़के वालों की तरफ से, हिमाचल की गोद में बैठे हैं हम, pine trees in your background, and you're just one Pandit ji and you're getting married and all that. It was one of the most beautiful experiences.
I'll be trolled if I don't ask you this, and I know there's not much you can tell us, but what can we expect with your upcoming project with Ranveer and this fantastic gang of actors? How's that experience shaping up? If anything you can tell us.
It's been one of the most amazing experiences. The film is shaping up really, really well. I don't want to say much because what we are trying to create is something that we haven't seen before in Indian cinema.
Aditya sir, as a filmmaker, another important reality of life is streaming, which you guys have embraced. Tell me, as a filmmaker, do you feel films deserve the same experience at homes? Because, it's a different feeling being in a dark theatre where your focus is solely on the big screen.
We cannot dictate how audience is going to watch the film. Even in dark theatre, people are nowadays with cell phones, sending messages, speaking loudly on phone. So you cannot dictate. The only thing you can do is make your film so cracking that they don't have a choice but to watch it. And be it on OTT or be it on theatre, just make it so good, work on your script so hard that you know that there won't be even a single moment when the audience will be able to look at their phones or talk to somebody. They are just glued onto the screen. So our idea is of that, our idea of cinema, or our idea of quality of cinema has always been like that.